It is Monday, November the 16th, 2020. We're here for the Dunbar Finance Committee City Council meeting, 6 o'clock. And with the new governor's orders in the past, we've all kept our masks on except the person speaking to try to make it easier for everybody to understand and those on video to hear. But I guess with the interpretation of his new order, we have to keep it on to speak as well. So hopefully we can understand each other. And hopefully those on video can understand as well. But again, it is November the 16th, 2020. For finance, we call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes for November the 2nd, 2020. So we have those minutes over the weekend. Any questions, comments, corrections, anything on the minutes for November the 2nd, 2020? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes for November 2nd, 2020 Finance Committee meeting.
I make a motion to approve the November 2nd, 2020 Finance Committee meeting.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so the motion is by Jim Hughes, second by Connie Thompson. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Okay. Thank you, Councilman Arnott and the Mayor for.
Mayor, this time, I'm thinking I was contributing notes to it.
Okay. Thank you all for the minutes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Back up just a second.
Okay.
Your echo.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was trying to not be so muffled, but I guess I had another problem.
If everybody put their microphone closer to their mouth, then it should pick up better when you're talking instead
That's
of.
what I was trying.
But
But like I said, I'm getting an echo. So
Yes.
we'll just have to kind of play it by ear.
Either that or turn down.
We'll jump now to item 3, invoices. And you see the total is $114,419.40. And that's a mixture of invoices and P cards. Hopefully you've taken time, all council members, to review each of these. And so we'll start working our way through for any questions. And we'll start first with our committee members, and then we'll go to the rest of council. So we'll start first with Connie Thompson.
Okay, on 3 of 4, the top thing says a smart bill, and it's our garbage and municipal fee billing. I just have a question for Connie. Is that working out well so far for you all?
So far.
Okay, and have we stayed, like, I know it was originally projected about 16,000 costs. Have we stayed about where we think we would have, and we did?
Yeah, that right now, that's what it is right now, 18.
Right.
That's 1,800 per month, so
Right.
we're looking at still about 16,000.
That's it, okay. And then, has that freed up the other ladies that were doing that? Because from what I remember, it was taking about 2 days to do it.
Yeah, it usually took me 2 days to do it. Other
2
than,
people, I thought.
it's not really, it's,
Has it freed them up to do other things like that?
no, it's made it worse, because you get every month. You know, when you send out a bill, you don't have much time to do anything else, but because when it got towards the end of the 3rd month, from the 3/4, most people want to pay this thing. Now it's pretty active for 3 weeks, people come and pay.
I think
You
the
see what I'm saying?
I think.
the short and long of it is, we went to monthly billing.
Right.
If we would have, by going to monthly billing, there's no way they could have done it in-house
Right.
Monthly. Yeah.
monthly. So, we only did quarterly billing, and it took 2 to 3 days to send it out on a quarterly billing. And then you spent the other rest of the time doing collections and so they can concentrate more on collecting the bills and not letting the bills get out of hand the way they had in the past.
That was my question. Has that allowed them to do other things more aggressively in collections or making profit or whatever? Yeah. Okay.
And by going monthly, our collection rate is higher as well, because it's human psychology, but it's easier. I mean, that's why all your insurances did it. It's not that they wanted to go to monthly, they just understand psychology, and
That's good.
you pay better by the month than by the quarter.
I'm glad to know that it's working. It's helping.
It's easier for people to budget
Monthly.
a number each month, $30 each month, as opposed to $90 once a quarter. So I think
And we're constantly turning we're constantly turning them over to Oval.
Okay.
You know, Debbie first tries when they get that, you know, she'll try, and then if she has no luck, then we'll turn it over.
I was just hoping that it had,
Yes,
that's what it was meant to do, to free you all up to be able to do other tasks.
yes,
Okay.
she's trying on it first before we turn them over to them. And we're turning it over a little sooner, but, you know, hoping that we'll have some luck too, at 300 instead of being 800 or 1,000, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, thank you.
So, yes, we're a lot more aggressive with it.
No more questions? Jim?
I don't have anything, sir.
Steve?
I just had, maybe for Scott, one question. On page 2 of 4, and it's very minimal, $170, but it's Hotsy Equipment Annual Maintenance, what is that?
We have a hot water pressure washer down there.
We do have one.
Yes, and they come in with it once a year and
Okay,
run through it, make sure everything's okay.
that answers the question, thank you.
My only question, is on page 1 of 4, the amended auto insurance policy for Assured Partners. Is that from where we've changed or where we are adding the new fire truck, I mean, the new
I think what
garbage
happened,
truck?
they missed a couple vehicles.
Okay.
And when we went to go add the new fire truck, I mean, the new garbage truck, that's when they thought that they had not insured another one.
Okay.
So that's, yes.
And now we'll start with any questions from other council members. So we'll start over here to my left with Greg Wolf.
I'm good.
Linda,
Okay.
that question?
Nothing, sir.
Mike, excuse me? Okay, so again, just for those watching, although sadly I've been noticing the trend is about 15 watch out of 3,100 voters. But for those 15 watching, 12,000 large amount was for retiree health benefits, almost 34,000 our monthly TEIA, plus other bills down through there. So we've reviewed all these, and so now you want to have a motion to send this to full council for approval, the $114,419.40.
I make a motion to send to full council the invoices to be recommended for payment by council at $114,419.40.
So Connie Thompson's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Jim Hughes made a second. Any other questions or comments from not only the committee, but anyone on council? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so we'll send that to full council. Clerk's report, we have 5. I'll mention the 5 and then we'll let Connie work through them. We have 5 reports: your cash balance, your revenue expense, your West Virginia state accounts, short budget, and then tonight we received our United Bank balances. And so we'll start and let the clerk.
Yes, I did just hand out everybody, United Bank statement that I just ran here last hour. So also give what we have collected on the $5 monthly fee. We added September and October. I usually pay those quarterly every 3 months and put that up there in the funds. So I try to mark it paid when we do pay it. So there's another 30,000. We got our maintenance report, what our balance
So you
is
have
there.
cash balances and then expenses and revenue.
Yes, expenses and revenue. I did add on to, got them to give us our 2 new accounts onto our treasurer, West Virginia Treasurer's Office, our Anderson Lake, and of course our CARES Act fund. We did get a letter this week saying that they accepted our September CARES Act, which was 200 and I think it was 214 altogether.
9,000.
So that'll be coming here soon, I would say, since I got the letter. But that's all of our accounts. And then also give you all a short budget, and we should be sitting at 25% short budget.
It should be 33% in 4 months.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. But everything's in line.
Yep.
Okay, we'll start going one by one then, thank you, clerk, and on the cash balances. You see it was a strong month. That first taxes, that would be property tax, correct? 615,000 on cash balance to come in, revenues. Because October is a strong property tax month.
A lot of it, yeah.
So you got a strong month there, and then in that is $192,311.84. That would be another CARES Act grant. So as you look down through that, just keep in mind that income includes CARES Act, but it has not yet been transferred out to the state.
No,
So,
it has been.
okay, well,
Everything on
your
your-
expenditures does not show that.
There is one that has not been,
Okay.
but all of it went into that state treasurer.
Okay, whereas on your expenditures, it has grant expenses with zero out front for transferred out to the state, so.
Well, because it's really it's still our money.
I know, but I mean, just so we're not thinking we've got more in the general account as you look through that, when you keep in mind your revenue versus expenses. And if you go over to, I had one question, Connie, also, of course, the iPass, that's in the state accounts, and Cole Severance, it's in United Bank, General Accounts United Bank. The employee benefits at 77,000, and it ended up at 78,000 with interest on it, things. Where is that held at? Because
That
that's,
is at West Banco.
okay, because I know it's not in the United or the state
Yeah.
accounts.
That's our West Banco, that's our dental insurance, our self-employed.
And if you move over to revenue, expense and revenue sheet, she mentioned, again, we're doing well in the black there, but again, I think that includes one that still has to be transferred out to the state fund. So
Yes, we
that
got
would
one so
be,
far.
that's about 192,000 still needs to be transferred, correct?
Well, depends if we're going to use it for the COVID pay.
Okay,
I left it in the general fund for that reason.
so just so that we're all clear, there where it shows a surplus of 922, it's really, from our actual city budget coming in, it's really a surplus of 730, which is still good. But it's not, just so you're accurate on looking through this. And then your statement of accounts, as you mentioned, the CARES Act has the 907 in it. We gained $145 interest. And Jim Brown, if you're watching, we got $1.02 interest on the Laura Anderson Road accounts. And you flip through there, your iPass, as she mentioned, contributions were almost 18,000 as money transferred over. And then our 2 rainy day funds, when you add the interest, those come in at 509,000. And so I think the mayor brought up earlier, a couple months ago, the question of do we want to move some of our contingency also to those 2 rainy day fund accounts? Mayor, clerk, any comments on that?
I mean, if we put it in there, we can take it out anytime, so I mean, it's, I think at some point, council's got to decide if they want to keep as much money as what we have in the general fund and checking, or shift it over into the rainy day fund or the investment pool to earn as much interest as we can until, because within 24 hours, we can have it transferred back into the, is that correct?
Yes, some of them.
Yeah.
There's one account you can't. It's got to be once a month. It's the first of the month.
So, I would say that realistically, we could do that to, looking at the kind of monies that we're running now, we ought to be trying to get the most interest we can get on the monies that we have out there to be invested.
So,
Yeah, the one that says, Dunbar United Bank, that's page 6,
yes,
that's a rainy day fund.
yeah, I call it rainy day 1.
And then the Dunbar Investment Fund, 220 is the other.
And those combined to be 509 right now. So I'll just encourage whoever, when the next council, or if we tackle before then, to keep that in mind, because it's always easier to have money in rainy day and they'll pull it out than to come to a rainy day and not have as much as you'd like to have there.
Rainy day doesn't go into our budget.
Correct.
We do put it in there, but it's not part of our budget.
How much are we allowed in percentage here?
30%.
Okay. It cannot be more than 30% of the budget, which we're nowhere near that. 6.5 million budget, we got $500,000 in rainy day, so. And
Where
that's-
these other funds that we started, we'll eventually have to, put them in our capital improvement fund, or take some of our bid, move it into one of these rainy day funds.
As mayor, I think you reminded us, even though $500,000 sounds good, that's only about a few weeks, correct? operating expense.
It's just 1 month.
On the short budget, on page 12 of 15, the youth programs, we need to also get that adjusted because it's still reflecting on this one, the 3,000, where we actually adjusted that to add
I'll give our accountant.
the other 2,200 in there. So that it shows that we still have, instead of being over budget 1,200, we're still actually under budget 1,200 for any group that would ask in the future. So, anything else for any of these reports from anyone for the clerk, for the committee or council? Mike, you're looking still?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we have that, and again, as Connie, the clerk, reminds us also on the United Bank, again, be careful with that. Feel free to share the numbers because it's people's money, but not the account numbers. Anything else, Connie?
That's all good.
So thank you, and we'll go down to new business. This comes from Jim Hughes and the Parks and Rec, the bus, so I'll let you share that.
And everybody look at the Thorn Hill Commercial Solutions out of Park Rec. The other day, we approved to send the council to purchase a new Ford Transit minivan. It's not a minivan, mid-size big van, actually 15-passenger bus with the rear seats taken out with has a lift of 800 pounds capacity. The plans are is to replace the white van that we have there now in the senior citizens, the Linda van, and turn it over to the Parks and Rec department over above, and take the covered van that we have and turn that into the dog catcher vehicle. Hope if I'm right, Linda, is that correct? So we'd like to purchase this. The long thing, our lift van that we have, the lift is completely broken. It's been needing replaced for a long, long time. We've had it for 12 years. And so we'd like to purchase this van. If you look through it, it's going to be very nice. We can probably get this within the next 3 months if we go ahead and order.
Okay, and if you remember the budget process, we had planned for this. The only catch was we had planned for 55,000, and you see the price with the wheelchair system on it is 58,789. And as the mayor shared at that meeting for Parks and Rec, if we would approve it, then we would need to transfer the $3,789 from contingency, which has also $500,000 in it, so there's money there. But just to be clear on the budget, it would be the 55 we planned, plus a transfer later, and again, that would be a budget adjustment, but a transfer of $3,789 from contingency. So any questions for Jim or Bub, anybody with Parks and Rec? The question is the humane officer, any progress on that since that's part of this reshuffle of vans?
He'll be starting November 30th.
Okay, I got 3 different comments.
He will start November 30th.
He has passed the drug tests and background and so forth, so he is suitable for employment.
And is it multi-taskable where he's gonna do the dog catcher and code enforcement?
He'll be doing both of them pretty much simultaneously. So you could go around looking for grass, you can find dogs and cats at the same time.
As long as it's
And
multi-taskable.
he'll bring all the deer to your house.
And let the coyotes come and they can eat the cats.
We better get back to this thing. Any other questions on the van or the money source? Hearing none, then entertain a motion to send full council our recommendation to purchase this van, 2020 van with the lift kit for $58,789.
I make a motion to send to full council approval to purchase a new 2020 Ford Transit mid-roof van with the rear entry wheelchair lift to lift 800-pound capacity, not to exceed $58,789 from Thorn Hill Commercial Solutions.
So we have a motion by Connie Thompson. Do we have a second?
I second.
Jim Hughes, second. Any other questions from committee or council members? All in favor, say
Is this on state bid?
Yes, sir.
It is, okay.
On the vehicle. On the vehicle.
That's all I
Yes.
guess. Vehicle, yeah.
There are those, I mean, you've got only one option for the lift, but
Okay,
vehicles.
right, that's what I meant.
Good question though. Because that happened with the dump truck too. The dump truck was state, but not all the
Add-on.
add-ons and things. Okay, any other questions?
So do we have to do them separate?
No.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Okay, thank you. Seven B, approval to trim back the limbs on 136-8 at 875. That's a tree that encompasses about 4 yards, doesn't it?
It's a pretty good sized tree.
So any questions for Hugh or anything we need to know about that? You've got your bid in your packet from American Tree Expert. And this is a lot that is for sale. This is the lot that is for sale that we proved to as excess property to sell last time, correct?
Yes.
Any questions for Hugh on that? Connie, yeah, Greg, that's your all's award. Any questions?
No, thank you.
So we have a motion to send full council this, our recommendation to do the 875, the American Tree Expert.
I make a motion to send to full council approval to trim the large walnut tree at 136 8th Street at the cost not to exceed $875 by American Tree.
We have a motion by Connie Thompson. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Second by Jim Hughes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Okay. And we come to our annual employee appreciation. Traditionally, we have a dinner, and the rule is with the state ethics code is it cannot, the bid for that cannot be more than $25 per employee. Of course, with COVID, those kind of group gatherings are pretty much out. So I think there's been word of mouth. I'll let the mayor address this, but just word of mouth discussion about trying to find a way to provide a ham or a turkey or something, just so it doesn't go beyond that 25 per employee, but I'll let the mayor share on that.
A couple of the options we put out was to provide a catered lunch or lunch of choice for each one of the departments as opposed to having one big luncheon. And I think the call back was that they weren't really that in favor of it because I think the police and fire people aren't going to come back on shift to, when they're not on shift, to come back to do that. So that's been one of our historical problems, you know, with attendance from those departments. And in talking with the Parks and with the Public Works, with Scott and his people, they would really prefer something like a ham or a turkey. And what we've been throwing out to see if we can find a small ham and a small turkey that comes in at under $25 for the combination, or a ham or a turkey. I think Connie's in the food industry, right, grocery industry right now. She pointed out that there's restrictions due to COVID. A lot of the meat producing plants are restricted as to the volume that they can put out. So, you know, we'd be looking at 60 to 70 turkeys, hams, or combinations thereof. So that may be a problem, but I think if council gives us a direction as which way we want to go, then we can maybe work it out to where we get small ham and a small turkey for each person, or we get so many hams and so many turkeys, depending on what the availability is. It's not to exceed $25 a person, and then divvy them up accordingly. It would be passed out sometime before Christmas. You know, probably the week before Christmas, and we would have them available for people to pick up. And if they're not at work, they can come in and get it.
And just a reminder to everyone that gift cards are not allowed by the state. So that's why, and again, with the COVID, you can't have the dinner. So that's why we're looking at these options. I think it would be wise if we would craft a motion that, again, as the mayor mentioned, reminding the dollar amount, but then give flexibility for the mayor's office on how to proceed with this. To buy, you know, because like you said, it's too hard to nail down exactly how many hams and turkeys we can buy.
How many total do we have?
We're talking about 70. So,
I will aggressively tomorrow look at the options we have, because we do have our canned ham, and I don't think there's limit on that.
Yeah.
We do have turkey breasts that aren't necessarily a full-size turkey, and I don't think they have a limit on that. Between those two, you might be under the $25, right at the $25.
I mean, I've been successful buying a quarter ham
Right.
at Aldi's, and, I mean, they were under $12 for a quarter ham for the double glaze. I mean, they're what my daughter prefers, so.
I will get back with you within a couple of days and let you know what options we do have. That way you can look elsewhere if you want to, or you can work that option out.
I mean, I kind of like the turkey breast and quarter ham option.
I like turkey breast because you don't have to pick it off the bone, but after you deal with turkeys
Amen.
all holiday season, you don't really want to pick up turkey off the bone.
Okay, so let's craft a motion, and again, this one, the key importance is the dollar amount, and the rest needs to be flexible, because again, we don't want to narrow it down to turkey breast if they're out that day. So someone need to craft a motion that would address the finances, but also give flexibility to the mayor's office. And I can't make the motion, so.
So I probably should not, since I'm involved in the grocery business.
I'll make a motion that we, for the employee appreciation, that we spend not more than $25 on a turkey ham combination, hopefully, but we're looking into it for our employees.
So the motion is that we would provide turkeys or hams or some form of food not to exceed
Maybe.
not to exceed $25 per employee. So Jim Hughes has made a motion for that. That's again, and so Steve Arnott has seconded. And that's in lieu of a traditional dinner on account of the COVID guidelines. So we have a motion, a second. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, thank you. And thank you to the mayor's office or whomever is assigned that duty. Well,
It's the, oh, I know, I just said it's beautiful, don't you?
yes. Yeah, you work all year and that's all you
Yeah,
do.
that's all, yeah, the state appreciates it.
We'll go to D, and this is essentially a retainer for WVU Law Clinic. And the mayor can share more about this. They've done it pro bono, basically because of grants in the past. Those have run out, and so they're asking for a retainer fee. And they're working on some Airbnb, so I'll let the mayor share all that.
You and I have had a couple of conference calls with Christy DeMuth and Jesse Richardson. I don't know if you all attended the planning and zoning, but they're the ones that head up the law clinics with law students, and because of the COVID, they don't have the number of students participating they've had in the past, so their grant money to do these types of projects has been limited. What we're talking to them about is there's a couple different issues. One of them is the Airbnb, and they've been working with several communities in West Virginia on trying to strengthen the Airbnb ordinances and kind of mirror it or embed it in the ordinance that they did for our bread and breakfast, which follows state code. So just to work on that. The other one is nuisance and drug houses. There again, they've been working with several different communities, and there's several different communities have a different approach to how they've gone about it, so they can throw a couple of different options on the table for us to work on that. And then the third thing that we need to look at is the change in cell phone towers. The state legislature approved the refrigerator towers, and basically what it is a cell phone tower that mounts on top of a telephone pole, and it's about the size of a refrigerator. And
A small refrigerator.
small refrigerator. So there's I think from a community standpoint, I mean, could be good, could be bad. I mean, Dunbar is kind of blessed. We don't have any issues with cell phone service in Dunbar. So there's some discussions going on. We don't really know how it's going to go. But I guess the issue is we want all these big boxes sitting on top of telephone poles all through the city and stuff. So that's the other avenue that we need to go back to planning and zoning and see how we're going to deal with it. So the nuts and bolts is because of their restricted revenue stream, they're asking for $2,500 retainer for them to assist us in this work. And I'd say they gave us 6 years of pretty comprehensive work for free. So,
Any other questions for the mayor on this? It's pretty self-explanatory. So you've written that in your memo, you heard his explanation, and so now I think we'd all be in agreement with that, because those are issues we need to deal with. So we have a motion to enter this retainer agreement with WVU Law for $2,500.
I make a motion that we enter into a retainer agreement with WVU Law Clinic to assist with the planning and zoning ordinance, and the amount not to exceed $2,500.
So Jim Hughes has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Connie Thompson, second. Any questions? Item one, how long is this for, just this fiscal year, or?
I'd say until we get the job done.
Okay. And since it was a new system, if it was based on the fiscal year or calendar year, or just like you said, until these 3 issues are resolved?
I'd say until it's resolved, because some of their projects will bridge from school season to school season, depending on how complex it gets. And I think Linda was on board with a lot of this. So there's kind of a dead zone or dead time during the summer when they're not, working on these things. So it's kind of tied to the school season.
And several of these also will be multi-jurisdictional things. So if one city comes up with one included, they might transport that over to us and reduce our time frame on what they're working on specifically for us.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Thank you. Come down then and see if there's any other business. Also, we talked at the last meeting about 3 police and 2 fire to have on the agenda. Is there an update on that, Mayor, what our status is to hire those? I think we have 4 vacancies in the police, but we're looking at 3 on account of the loaded FTO, and then 2 for the fire.
Actually, we selected all 4 spots. We're going to go for all 4 at the same time and be done
On the police side.
on the police side. Now, we're in the final phase right now. The chief can probably address it, but I've been meeting with them for the last 2 weeks. They've gone through the polygraphs, and they're going through the psych evaluations, and then go to the physicals after that. And so we weeded it down. I have selected 4 names, of which one of them possibly may be coming off the list, and we're going to have to reconvene the commission again and go through the selection process and pull the 4th name up so that we'll be ready. I think the chief just told me today that the first class starts in January, and he notified them that we have names, and it's already booked out, correct?
They have a January class set, and a February class. They have 110 applications already in and waiting on. So that's probably going to fill those 2 classes up. They have a new commandant that's taking over the academy first of the year. So they've not set their schedule. We're going to wait for him to get seated to see what his agenda is and what his plan is.
So traditionally, it's something we vote on, so I'll take it that we don't have to, as long as it's not going over budget. when we hire into. So I know in the past, usually we wait and it would be on, to vote on hiring new.
Right, I mean, once we get figured out to where these all four are hireable, we get all the stuff's done, and hopefully we'll have that done by the December 4th meeting, where we can come back to council with a recommendation on hiring four. I think if we don't get to four now, we're gonna end up losing out in the long run, and, I mean, that's just been our thoughts, on the thing. Now, if you all want to restrict it to three, you can restrict it to three, but
I think the only reason it's been talked about 3 to 4 is just the load on FTO. I don't think it's a problem on us for budget side. Because
we have to deal with the reality too, that we may have one bot from us before they even graduate from the academy. So if we put put 2 eggs in the basket, when we could put 4, we end up losing 1. We only end up with 1 when we really need 4. So I thought we'll probably lose 1 at some time during the academy process. So we would get at least 3. And hopefully we get 4.
Do any have any prior experience like the firemen?
Pardon?
Do any have any prior experience?
There's one with prior experience, yes.
Question with that.
He is, sir. So he doesn't have to go to the academy.
He doesn't have to. One's in the hireable range, and it would not be a 90-day appointee. He'd be a straight hire. So he could come on board, go through the FTO, and be off and going in 8 to 9 weeks of whenever they release him from the field training.
Question, I know those who got through that day on the police testing, we worked very hard to clear ourselves, where we had some insurance issues and get back on the right track, and you helped us so much with that. We have good insurance now. And again, not any names, of course, because it's a personnel issue, but one on that list had some things that would be of concern for future insurance situations. Is that one of, I'm not sure how we handle this, but I think it should be a concern for all of us. Let me rephrase it. Does everybody on the floor look like they're
Everybody that's on the list is, I think they told me today that I'm supposed to talk tomorrow. So I don't want to get into individuals, but
I just say, we have a clean slate.
There's one, after going through the polygraph, that may not be a clean selection at this point. So it all has to do with polygraph testing. It has nothing to do with anything else.
We just have to be careful when we hire. Let's just go hire somebody to get the numbers.
Or hire somebody that,
Look at the people.
We're down, we're way down.
Yeah, I know that.
or hire somebody that's been problems elsewhere.
We had 13 that passed the test, and I think we eliminated 5, maybe 6, possibly 7. Out of that list, I think if we end up passing over one more because of polygraph, I think the list is going to be expired. So we will probably be lucky to get 4 out of 13. If that gives you any indication.
I was just hoping one may have some previous experience to be able to go through the process a little faster.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Now, to the fire, they just gave me the list this afternoon, and I've done a preliminary look at it, and they've done the background checks and given me some information. So I have 3 to choose from. So probably December 4th, I'll be selecting one. There's only one opening right now. Now, we still have a list of other people on the list. If there is one fireman that's potentially going to file for disability, but until he goes for disability, we can't really replace him or do away with that. But we do have a list to work from, should that happen in the next several months. I think the next administration can deal with that. It's already pretty well set in motion.
Any other questions on this? Because again, this does deal with finances, so kind of the budget and overtime and all those things. Any other question for the mayor or either chief? Mayor, anything else related to finances for the city?
But just to go back to those, these are all budgeted positions. So it's not like we're going to be going outside the realm of the budget. We have four funded slots in the police department, and we have the other funded slot in the fire department. So, you know, this is all good to go. Everything else seems to be going well. The recent COVID thing kind of puts a chill in my spine as to what's going to happen to the economy if we do go to this radical shutdown. I'm not sure that the radical shutdown is going to do anything except hurt more people that are trying to struggle and make it through it. But I think financially we're in good shape to weather the storm. If it doesn't last too long, then we'll be overboard with everybody else.
Any other finance from the mayor? Shared anything, financial questions from other council members? We have a motion to adjourn this meeting until 7 o'clock, council.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second.
Second.
Connie has made a motion. Jim, second. Thank you.